The ATP Masters Series comes to a close today here in Paris, and the final match of the regular tour is an eagerly awaited affair. Marat Safin made a faltering start yesterday, but he rose majestically to see off Argentina's Guillermo Cañas in straight sets. Now, in the final, the Russian is looking to be the first ever back-to-back indoor Masters Series champion. Standing in his way is Radek Stepanek. If the Czech wins, he'll be only the third qualifier to win a Masters Series title. So history will be made today as the final is played at the BNP Paribas Masters. Hello and welcome to Bercy. The Omnisport Palais here is waiting for the arrival in theatrical manner of our two finalists. This 15,000-seat arena will be abuzz in a moment as the two men make their way to court, and they're closing in on what is at stake. The special Paribas Masters trophy there on the right and the highly prized ATP shield on the left. And those Master Series shields sit on a few mantelpieces, but none yet on Stepanek's. Well, let's see, just for the sake of clarity, it's Czechoslovakia, or the Czech Republic rather, against Russia. It's Stepanek against Marat Safin. It's the qualifier against the number 6 seed. Well, with me in the commentary box awaiting this final as eagerly as I think is Jason Goodall, and we've seen some terrific tennis, particularly from Safin this week.
Well, he loves playing at this event. It's as simple as that. He's got a 20-2 career record. He's been a winner, of course, as you mentioned, on 2 occasions, a finalist on another where he lost to Agassi. Already got his name on one of the branches of the tree, as have all the other players. And, of course, it would be a prized asset for either of the finalists today, but I think Safin comes in as heavy favourite. He's played so well this week. The only question mark I've got is how has that ankle reacted, having gone over on it yesterday?
Yes, that was an unfortunate fall, but he didn't have it re-strapped. He already had it strapped. And just the last-minute instructions from his coach there, Peter Lundgren on the left. There he is, who used to coach Roger Federer, of course, till the end of last year. And there is Walt Landers, the trainer. So the last-minute good lucks from the team. Radek Stepanek leading the way. They'll be introduced by the band RAM, and we won't attempt to compete with them, but we will be rejoining you when the players reach the umpire, who today is Lars Graf of Sweden. something of a cross between a prize fight and a pop concert as these two men came on, and I'm sure that they are going to be affected in some way by this music. Let's hope it's going to be a positive effect. And they're making their way now towards last round.
Okay, 6-12, 7-9. All lines covered, linesmen today. Use the machine to call the net. Television changeover, so please sit down until call time. And after the toss, there were some pictures looking that direction. Any questions? Heads?
No questions. Heads calls Safin.
It's tails, your choice. Receive. Picture.
That's
Marat.
interesting. Stepanek has won the toss and elected to receive, and yet he's a good server, serve and volleyer.
It's going to be very interesting. He's got to start the match well. I'm sure he's going to be a little nervous. He was yesterday in the semi-final. Took him a while to get going, whereas Safin, of course, has already been here on numerous occasions. So I think it's going to be very important for Stepanek to get off to a good start, settle those nerves.
There's absolutely no doubt about that. So to the last match, not just of this tournament, but of the Masters Series year. It's Stepanek against Safin. Well, here we are, the last 8 as they were a couple of days ago. On the left of your picture there, this is how they've come through. Stepanek beating Jusny and Meunier as well in a desperate fight, that one, but he won. So the two qualifiers, Meunier and Stepanek, the only time in a Masters Series event that two qualifiers have ever reached the semi-finals and played one another. And Kanyas and Safin there battling. Yesterday, Safin prevailing despite that ankle injury, which, as you, Jason, mentioned, could be quite a factor today. We'll talk more of that later as we now introduce the players to you. So here is the 25-year-old Czech who turned pro in '96, hasn't yet won a singles title, and this is in fact his first final. So this is a momentous day for him. $1.7 million he has earned in his career. A 30-26 win-loss record this year, largely because altogether, including this week, he's been in 6 quarter-finals on the tour. Just about $500,000 in the bank from those. And you'll see how he leapt from 258 in 2001 to 61 at the end of the following year, and then to 46, but he slipped a bit this year. As I say, he hasn't really made the break from that quarter-final stage until this week, and he has been absolutely inspired. So there's no question that this is the week of his tennis life. And if we look here at the 16-14 career win-loss record in Masters Series titles, he hasn't won one, of course, and this year 8-4, but he still hasn't yet proved that he has the utter belief to win one of these titles, and today he has the chance to show us that he does believe. Lost here in the first round last year, so quite an advance since his loss to Gregory Carras of France. So there are his wins in straight sets over the Frenchman left-hander Lodra, in straight sets over Hanescu, who came in to the draw in the place where Agassi would have been, over Spadia, the number 17 seed, in straight sets, and Jusny in straight sets. So that was a very fine win, running win, and run of wins, I'm trying to say. And against Meunier yesterday, a little bit nervous, as you say, but he overcame them.
Yeah, that was the big thing, and he's finished very, very strongly, so that will have given him an awful lot of confidence. But he's got to be able to handle those nerves today, because of course Safin's already won this tournament twice, been a finalist on another occasion, as I mentioned earlier, where he lost to Agassi. So this court surface definitely suits him. He's only 24 years of age, but already he's won 13 titles. 2 of them have been very recently in Beijing and in Madrid, and it was the Beijing tournament really that got his season started. Since falling in the first round of the US Open, he's managed to win 21 of his 24 matches, and that's seen his Champions Race ranking rocket to number 6. Of course, he started the year well. He was a runner-up in the Australian Open, and he also made the final in Estoril, and he was a semi-finalist, of course, in Monte Carlo. But then his form really fell away through the summer, and he could not win a match. And after the US Open, he got very down. But then those wins in Beijing and Madrid a couple of weeks ago that we've talked about, as well as a semi-final showing in Bangkok, has put him right back up into the top 10 of the Champions race, of course, already a qualifier for the Tennis Masters Cup. He's starting to build up a nice record in these Masters Series events. Of course, he's already won 4 titles, twice here, as I mentioned, beating Philippoussis in a 5-set final in 2000, and killing Leighton Hewitt in 2002, and he also won the Canadian Open in the year 2000, as well as most recently in Madrid. So there's no doubt about the fact that he has what it takes to play tennis at the highest level on any surface, but particularly on this one where the ball bounces nice and low. His big match, well, he had a couple of them, really. First was against Ljubicic, that he won in 3 sets, and that was a difficult encounter. He wasn't playing particularly well, but managed to find a way to win, and that's something that he's improved in the past couple of months. And then the quarterfinal match against Hewitt, that was a big one, particularly that second set where he responded exceptionally well when Hewitt came back at him.
2 minutes.
So his mental attitude throughout the week, and indeed in the last couple of months, has been much improved, and that is a direct influence, I think, obviously, of working with Peter Lundgren.
I don't think there's much doubt about that. Lundgren's influence has calmed him and got him to believe. Well, now that might surprise you. The only time they played was very recently. In Moscow, the 11th to the 17th of October, that took place, that tournament, and it was in the second round. He beat Safin, who was the #1 seed, and he beat him, as you see, in 3 sets, dropped the middle set, and he then went on to lose to Davydenko, the 8th seed, in the quarterfinals, Stepanek. But he can play indoors. And I think what has happened to him this week is a sort of sudden burst of knowledge that he can live with anybody. And it wouldn't surprise me if he wanted to.
Well, of course, the conditions here suit him as well over the years. He's played pretty well here. He's been a qualifier a couple of years ago, and of course that's exactly what happened again this year. He got a couple of matches under his belt last Saturday and Sunday. That gave him a little bit of confidence. He was fortunate that Agassi pulled out, Hanescu took his place, but he made the most of that, and that's the key. And he's played better and better with each match. You know, to beat Vince Spavia in straight sets, and Mikhail Yuzhny, who of course was a winner last week, that takes some doing. So he'll be confident in his own ability coming into this match.
There's our umpire from Sweden, Last Graf. Looking very smart today, Lars, in his tie. Dressed up for the final. There's Peter. And all the time this week he's been sitting with a broad smile on his face. Let's hope that Stepanek doesn't wipe off that smile for him, which he could. I mean, on paper it should be a win for Safin, but there is somebody who is looking to Stepanek to do what he's done so well this week and win another tennis match, his last of the season, in fact, Thomas Cooper. I saw them hitting earlier today, and they were very relaxed and jovial and in just the right frame of mind, I would say, for a big effort.
Well, his role, obviously, coming into the final was very, very important. He's got to try and relax Stepanek. He's got to try and instill confidence in his ability to be able to beat someone as good as Safin on what I think will be his favourite surface. So I think it's going to be very important for him to have got his mind at the right state of arousal coming into this match. And I think, obviously, that's a job of the coach.
Just those last moments of the ritual. So the last match of our Masters Series year. It's Stepanek against Safin.
Mesdames et messieurs, Radek Stepanek gagnera ce soir. Choisit de relancer.
Allez, Marat. Well, there'll be a lot of those fans in the crowd today. He's been getting big support as Safin. He's very popular here. And I think he says that his big dream is to win the French Open. He's been semi-finals there for early beating a couple of years ago. He lost in the 4th round in Albanian this year. And of course, as the US Open, former US Open champion,
Marat, Safin.
has shown us he has the mental ability to live at the summit. Former world #1, of course, back in 2000. But he's had wrist injuries since then, and for most of last year he was troubled with that wrist injury.
Play.
So here we go. It's Safin to serve. Best of 5 tiebreak sets.
Stepanek got some good practice yesterday, returning big serves when he was playing against Murney, and in the first set he didn't handle it too well, but in the second and third, as he got into the match, he did an awful lot better. And he took the ball a little bit earlier, so if he can do that again today, the chances will be good.
Shouldn't have taken as long today, because he did have that outing recently against Safin in Moscow, whereas he hadn't played Murney before, and it took him a while to read the signals. To always hope for in a big match. A nice, comfortable start. Well, only he knows if that ankle is troubling him in any way. I'm sure it's wrapped again. It was last night before he came on, but surprised me slightly that he didn't have it re-wrapped.
No, he must have thought that there was enough tension there, and obviously the trainer came out to have a look, and he will have concurred. So I think he'll have obviously have it wrapped again today, and after the first couple of games, if he can set that nicely and be able to build his confidence up in that. And I'm sure he's on the anti-inflammatories again today as he was yesterday. Well, that's the one area I think that Stepanek can hurt Safin, with the touch and the field shots around the net. He's able to play little drop shots and dinks and angles that will certainly take Safin out of his comfort zone at the baseline.
Finalist here in '99, lost to Agassi the year before his first win, beat Philippoussis the following year in a bloody final, literally. He hurt himself, his nose bled after he hit himself with the racket. Or just somewhere, it may have been an eyebrow he's split, I think. I remember the fuss on that occasion. I had to stop and get towels and stem the blood, the flow of blood.
Good, I think, to mix up the serve and volley with serving and staying at the back of the court so that Safin doesn't really get into a rhythm. And he's got to make sure he doesn't give away too many cheap points on the first volley, because Safin will certainly look to attack the second serve. So the first serve percentage too is going to be an important factor in the outcome of this match.
Yes, hesitated. Didn't come in with conviction.
And again, I think a sign of nerves there, not quite moving as freely as he did towards the end of his semi-final match, or of course, as he did earlier in the week.
So first break point. definitely nervous at the moment.
And the shot selection tends to suffer, as does the execution of touch shots and field shots. And here Safin intelligently keeping it simple, bunting it up the line, but Stepanek there really would have been better advised to use a simple volley, perhaps straight at Safin, rather than trying a very, very difficult lob volley.
So he's got his break. 2-love. Lovely angle. You're definitely still feeling the tension of the moment. Well, usually a player will lose that. He did yesterday. Yesterday he was love 3 down in double quick time, 4-1 down, and then 6-3 after just over half an hour against Bernie. Overran the ball a little there, Safin.
And this will do Stepanek's confidence the power of good. He's got to try and win as many points as possible from the net. That's where he likes to play the majority of his tennis. But Safin looking nice and relaxed.
Well, Safin knows that what Stepanek will be trying to do will be suddenly to unload on the shot, change the pace to force him into error. And he himself will be doing just the same. So depth for both crucial.
It's a combination that's worked so well for Safin throughout the week. He's been hitting big serves, and when the returns drop short, he's been able to use the forehand or the backhand to set up the points superbly. On that occasion, Stepanek unable to get the ball even back into play.
So onto the ace board as well. First time, I think there'll be a lot of those today probably. So a 3-love lead for the Russian. So Safin pretty content at the moment. Plan is working. 3-love, 1 break. Just what he would have wanted. Christian Beam there, the president of the French Tennis Federation. And alongside him is one of the Olympic champions is on his right. 2 here today. We've got Emily Stepanek, gold medalist in the asymmetric bars in Athens. Well, now this is a big game for him. He's got to get into this match. He's not in it yet. That's better.
He's used the serve well throughout the week. It's been deceptive. He's not going to hit the fastest serves in the world, but he's got to be able to hit the corners of the service box off the same toss, and he's got to vary it enough to keep the opponent guessing. volley well enough at the first attempt to put Safin under enough pressure to play defensively, then he's obviously going to win the vast majority of the points. That's his intended game plan, without a doubt.
No, he's missed.
Well, the return was a good one. That's what set the points up nicely for Safin. Stepanek a little fortunate, having stayed in the rally here, that Safin was just a little cumbersome here with his footwork. He left himself a little bit too much to do on that volley. It was a point, really, that the Russians should have won.
Lovely touch. Well done. He's getting a little more relaxed now. I don't know whether we can draw any conclusions from this, but it was exactly what happened yesterday. He lost his first serve in the second game of the match, and then from luxury held for 3-1. Is exactly what he's got to try and do, take the initiative when his opponent's serving.
And he does that best on the backhand side, there's no doubt about that, when he steps inside the baseline to take the ball on the rise, shortens his backswing because he's not trying to generate any pace himself, just using that from the oncoming serve, and then he's just hoping to try and redirect the ball well enough and possibly come in behind it.
No, just out. What a pity.
Well, the tactic was a good one. Dropping the ball short, and of course we know that on this surface the ball doesn't bounce particularly high, but it was good anticipation by Stepanek, and he really had an opportunity there. It's the percentage shot, popping it up the line, and he really should have done better.
Can't overdo these touch shots. You've got to be very discreet with their use. Best way of using those sort of shots is to drop them in unexpectedly. Yes, good serve. Right at the body, uncontrollable. And the serve of Safin at the moment, absolutely what it should be, on target, and 4-1. There's Emily Stepanek, the 2004 Olympic gold medalist. What a proud moment that must have been for her in Athens. Well, I think put that whole rally into the textbook of coaching, how to return serve. Keep it to the incoming server's feet. in a good body line serve. Not that fast, only 178 kph, but in the right place. And I think it might be a percentage serve today against Safin. He's very good out wide. Big wingspan. No. Almost too much time to play that one. As I say, when they were hitting on this very court earlier today, with nobody in the stands at all, they were laughing and joking, enjoying themselves. They're rather more serious now, of course. Well, that was a fine angle. Determination now written all over his face. He was beginning to make inroads on the Safin serve. He's getting them back well in the last game. He'll fancy his chances for a break here. If Safin's serve allows it, of course.
He's got to try and take advantage of any looks he gets at Safin's second serve. Won't be expecting to win the vast majority of points when Safin makes a first, of course. It's about being patient, taking his chances when they come.
Nice play.
That's a good sign. Stepanek feeling comfortable enough to try and work the crowd a little bit. Nice feel on the backhand volley. And then good anticipation, of course, if you do go cross-court, off a little drop shot, and it's not a winning shot, then the opponent just has a very simple play into the space in order to win the point.
And that is the trouble, because every now and again he'll fire down one of those unplayable aces. Well, irritated that he should have missed a relatively straightforward forehand like that. And it's just given a sniff of a chance to Stepanek here, 15-30. Yes, that's the way to snuff it out.
That's why Safin's so frustrating to play against, because you can't get any rhythm. Just when you feel you've got a half chance, it can be taken away from you so quickly.
Aces 2 and 3 in this game.
Yesterday we saw Murney target the Stepanek forehand, and it paid dividends throughout the match. There's no doubt about the fact that that is definitely the weaker of the two ground strokes.
And yet another ace. Stepanek not moving from his position, but he'll have to, because the decision will not be changed. So 3 aces in that game. Safin 5-2. Well, Joël Blanc, who has been here all week, producing wonderful pictures. And there's another lovely watercolour to savour.
I think that's his best effort of the week, though. I like that.
You'd hang that on your living room wall, wouldn't you?
Well, I don't know about that, JB. I'm very specific about what gets hung in my living room, but it's still a nice picture.
But alongside the Matisse.
Oh, then absolutely.
Merci.
New balls, 2-5. Yeah, a little bit hesitant again.
Just not looking sharp enough at the net. It was a good return by Safin. Should have done a little bit better, perhaps, with the second attempt. A little fortunate to get away with it.
Exactly what Safin did to him, though not quite as fast. Doesn't have to be, as long as it's a winner. Started very young, because his dad, Vlastimil, is a tennis coach. Got him started as a toddler. Whereas this man grew up in tennis terms in Spain, where he was sent when he was 13 by his father to learn the business of learning to win on clay. Went to Valencia. Now, time to make a good finish to this game.
Well, Safin under considerable amount of pressure here. Nice little volley, but a lovely flicked backhand, and nothing there Stepanek could do. Just a little flick of the wrist generating an awful lot of power. Full marks for effort, though.
You've got to know how to fall in this game. Remember Boris Becker? Made a career of it, didn't he?
Three-time champion here, but did it a little bit better than that. Of course, he had an awful lot of practice.
There's not quite the conviction in his game yet that he'll need if he's going to win. There wasn't yesterday, so it might happen again today for him. Not until halfway through the match do we look really confident, Stepanek. They're absolutely deadly there on those two-handed passes, and this one to the feet. Not even hitting the ball at all. Must have thought it was going into the net, I think, but it wasn't. And for Safin, the first set point. He won't be pleased about that. Making a simple error.
A little cheap. Lundgren will be a little disgruntled, I think. It's important for Safin to try and stay on top. He worked hard to build this little lead.
Well, the tightness seemed to leave him, but it's returned at this critical juncture. And not the time for a first double fault to give your opponent a second set point. Very brave to try a drop shot when he was set point down.
And he was lucky to get away with it, because I think Safin should have done a little bit better than that. Yes, the ball clipped the top of the net, so Stepanek had a little bit of extra time to make the distance. Therefore, the last shot was relatively simple. But if Safin had bunted that up the line, Stepanek would have had to pass him to stay in a set.
Well done. You're just in the nick of time. Two good serves saved him. And Thomas Cooper there, I think, mighty relieved that the set is still alive.
And that was a big game for Stepanek, because now obviously there's a little bit of pressure on Safin, having had those set points. He wasn't able to convert. If Stepanek can get at him early in the game, who knows what might happen.
Well, again, just a little bit tentative still. Yes, he's telling himself, go for these shots now. Yes, that's always going to be happening.
Very important, if you are going to play a slice backhand on this particular court surface, that you really get aggressive with it. Safin there just popping it up. So Stepanek had plenty of time to get into position, and then just a subtle flick of the wrist, giving him the necessary topspin to be able to control the shot.
Well, the whole tone of the match will be set in the next few minutes. If he can break here, this could become a real dogfight. If Safin wins relatively easily, well, he could run away. 2-1-2, one of his quicker ones. Not his quickest yet, 2-1-5 so far today. 30-15. No, he doesn't like that call, but it won't be changed. Well, I'll have a look with TMI to see what happened to it. Here you are. It was long. So he's understandably aggrieved because, again, Safin at set points. His third coming up. Two-hander as he usually is, and I think Peter Lundgren will be pretty happy with the progress so far. Hello, Safin. They say the first set to him 6-3 after 35 minutes.
Stepanek hasn't really attacked the second serve enough to give him any break-point chances as yet. More winners than unforced errors, so that's always healthy, although Safin from the back of the court hasn't quite been as effective as he has been earlier in the week. Whereas for Stepanek, too many unforced errors, simple as that. He's nervous, he's tight, he's got to get rid of that. He hasn't had an opportunity to break serve yet, so that's something that he's definitely got to change. And if he doesn't serve better than that, then Safin's going to have plenty of looks at second serves, and therefore the Russian's going to have an opportunity to break serve. So I think much improvement needed by Stepanek if he's going to try and get back into the match.
And this is how the set ended, the dead-eyed double-hander there, threading the needle for the pass that made it 1-0 his third set point. And of course a little bit lucky in that service game, because if you remember when he was 30-15 he served an ace that wasn't an ace. It was actually long, and Stepanek queried it, but no overrule by the umpire, which was unfortunate for Stepanek. And I think Lundgren, hoping to see his man keep his mind focused, will be pretty pleased, because that's exactly what Safin has done on the cover of today's official program, along with his rival for this title. And I must say, those daily programs are rather good and quickly produced overnight and right up to date. And there is the young Marat Safin, one of the posters that hang from the rafters of all the seeded players here. Because he was young when he won back in 2000, 4 years ago. He was just 20. Second set. I don't know about you, I expect to see an improving performance from this man.
Well, I think when you have lost an opening set, it's nice that it's a best-of-5 set final, so it's not that important, and Stepanek hopefully now will be able to relax and open his shoulders a little bit.
And tell us about the difference between playing best-of-3 and best-of-5.
Well, I think when you come into a match that's only best-of-3, you've got to get off to a good start, and you get a little more anxious if you do lose that opening set. But you know you've got a bit more time to settle into the match if it's a best-of-5 set encounter, so the loss of the opening set isn't quite as important.
The perfect start.
And I think also the other thing you've got to consider in a best-of-5 set final is your opponent isn't going to be able to maintain concentration and focus probably throughout the encounter, so you are going to have an opportunity. It's just a case of being patient and then hopefully making the most of that.
It was the most perfect point he played. Half volley from the baseline, right in the far corner. The difficult one down the line. That one, right on the line, and a relatively easy winner, it seemed, for the taking.
And just a little tentative again. Good use of the forehand. Took the ball nice and early. And really here, should have done an awful lot better.
Well, again, a little bit tentative on that first volley.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas Krupa will be hoping that he gets just a little more positive.
I think that's absolutely right. It's difficult for Stepanek because when you've been ranked, 50, 60, 70 in the world, you certainly don't anticipate making the finals of Master Series events. And this might be the only chance he gets in his career. Hopefully he will go on to do well today and or in the future. But if he doesn't do himself justice today, it'll be very disappointing.
Here's the man who has done so much to develop tennis over the European continent. He advised the German Federation for years. He brought his tournament from Stuttgart to Madrid. He's the tournament chairman there. Of course, Jon Tiriac was the #2 player behind Nastase for years in Romania and famously played that final in Bucharest against the Americans in 1972, the first non-challenger, the first final of the Davis Cup. Just to complete the story, the Americans went there with Stan Smith and didn't really expect to win on clay, but Smith played quite wonderfully, and the Americans did win against the odds in Bucharest.
Still just can't get any kind of rhythm on the return. First and foremost, of course, he's got to try and make Safin play a few more balls. But he's not anticipating which direction the Russians are trying to serve the vast majority of the time.
Yeah, that's just getting a little bit better, a bit more positive there.
And it certainly was, and I think he did get a lead on this one. He managed to change grips nice and early. And make sure he made contact with the ball out in front of his body. That's why he was able to generate that nice angle.
Such a good serve again. Not that fast that time. Under 200k, but perfectly placed. Sliding away with slice. Quickly to 1-all.
Starting to serve a little better now, just a little more pace on the serves, and the accuracy is improving all the time. And for me, that's the perfect return, just to go straight down the middle of the court, short and backswing, not trying to generate too much pace, just making it very difficult for the incoming serve and volleyer. No angle to play with there, very difficult even to get out of the way of the ball.
Pity. So there was good defence there from Stepanek.
15-30.
He did well because he stayed in the rally long enough to turn defence into attack. But this is a half chance now for Safin.
tennis.
Long term, over the best of 5, it might start to have an effect, this drop shot tactic.
Well, it's frustrating to play against because Safin's having to cover an awful lot of court and he's not winning the vast majority of the points. Stepanek there, it's an excellent footwork in order to make contact with the volley as close to the net as possible.
Yes, rushed himself, took it too early. A bit of frustration for his coach at the moment because he's almost playing well now. Just marring his performance with a few too many errors. Already 16. And that's 10 more than Safin has committed. In fact, he's up to 18 now. So the tally reaches 19, and that is altogether too many, particularly that one. It's given Safin the break chance. Yes, good tennis.
Well, that was a huge point, and Stepanek did exceptionally well. And I think Safin would have had the play on the ball had he not given up. Because he thought this shot possibly was going over Stepanek's head, but he didn't quite time the volley. And had Safin chased back into the centre of the court, I think he would have had an opportunity to play the ball into the space. But full marks to Stepanek. Well, he's got all sorts of options here, Safin. He can take this on the forehand and use it inside out, as he did so superbly, or he could have played it on the backhand, and then, of course, he has the option to go up the line. So it's very difficult for Stepanek to read what the Russian's going to do next.
Unlucky. An apology from Safin, but he'll take it. It's the first break in the set. And unfortunately, you can do absolutely nothing about those, so Safin 2-1. Well, he can sit there feeling quite content, I think. He's got a set under his belt, he's got a break. He's playing well, the foot isn't hurting him apparently. Mark Webster there, the managing director of TPL. We'll bring you all the television coverage of the Masters Series tournaments, all of them. Now, here's the chance to consolidate. 2-1. There's an element missing from his game today, and that is confidence. All the time, on those sort of shots, he is just failing to be committed. That was good touch.
Well, I think he was a little fortunate as well. There's no way he would have wanted his shot to be as good as that. Safin again did exceptionally well under extreme pressure to get that ball down to Stepanek's feet. And again, it's up the middle of the court, so very difficult for Stepanek to create that kind of angle. Almost more like a cricket shot than tennis. Full marks to Safin for trying to chase the ball down. That puts extra pressure on Stepanek. Next time he has to come and try and execute a similar shot.
He's got that little advantage. Well, it's rather a large advantage, actually. That service power. Every time, well, not every time, but whenever he's in trouble, he's likely to do something like that. Ace number 6. Well, that's good. Taking advantage of a ball here, which just sat there for him and asked to be hit when he was committed there. So, a break point for Stepanek. And it's the first time he's had the chance to get back. And he's got it. A lovely deep return of serve. And Safin a little careless. There it is, having to rush his shot. And he hits it long.
Well, it was careless. He lost his concentration then. It's not easy when you're setting the break up so quickly. I think he'll be a little frustrated that he gifted the game away so cheaply.
That might make all the difference for Stepanek. Very much like yesterday's match. If from here on he does look confident, that's what happened yesterday. Better backhand volley, not quite as positive as he has been showing us, but at least it wasn't a push that time. And there's a slight suggestion here that Safin has just lost his concentration. The crowd giving him the bird. They always do when anybody throws a record. Very knowledgeable tennis crowd in Paris. There we go. Very, very good. Stepanek is beginning now to show us what he can do. 3-2 to him, second set. Well, this is a really worrying moment for him and for Peter Lundgren, because there are signs that he just lost his concentration, and that has been the area of his game which has so much improved since working with Lundgren. And we'll see how the match unfolds from here. He still hasn't got his mind in gear. Lost the last 7 points.
Well, definitely managing to generate a little bit of extra pace from the back of the court now, Stepanek, with that new confidence. And it's getting Safin in a spot of bother. Getting more and more irritated by the fact that he's not able to win the points as comfortably as he was in the opening set.
Everything seems to be going wrong now for Safin. The simple forehand approach hits the net and falls out. 2 break points for Stepanek here. Yes, a little bit nervous again there, annoyed with himself. It was a chance.
It was a makeable shot, but again it was on the forehand, so sensible approach by Safin.
There are the breakpoint chances.
That was a better point as far as Safin's concerned, hitting the ball out of the centre of the racket for the first time in a good 10 minutes or so. Nice volley by Stepanek, but again, perhaps he would have been better advised to follow the line of the ball and cover the up-the-line passing shot, because we know Safin loves to do just that.
Nods of approval from Peter Lundgren, hoping that Safin will find a couple of big serves here. Letting him off the hook here with that forehand. Again, the conviction absent. Seems to me that the occasion is a little bit too much at the moment for Stepanek. And you see, if you just don't take those chances when they come along, and remember that forehand pass down the line was the one, then you pay the penalty. He gets out of trouble with that big serve, his 7th ace, and it's 3-all instead of 4-2 to Stepanek.
Big game there, because Safin was just starting to get annoyed with himself, and it was starting to show. That would have given Stepanek a lot of confidence as well. Forehand just letting him down when he needed it most. Well, the quality of the first volley there was what winning that point was all about, and that's a shot that's definitely improved in this set. He was missing an awful lot of those in the first, but now he's setting himself up nicely.
A good leap for that overhead. And that's something that Stepanek spent quite a lot of time practicing this morning. Thomas Kruger was tossing up about a dozen lobs, one after the other, and he was getting him to get back under the falling ball quickly and leap. Caught in no man's land, hopeless. Don't know what he was doing here. It was a good enough return, but I mean, he was on the defensive, out of position. Look where he was. Caught behind the service line. Oh, that's it. Much better. A 5th ace. And Stepanek could have been here in rather better position than 4-3. Could have been 5-2, but he'll be happy with the lead. Two breaks in that 4-3 score, one each. New balls. Yep. Well, again, a little bit careless, forehand long there. No question, his mind is wandering at times a little bit. I'm not sure whether he has really the belief to be able to take advantage of this slight lapse in Safin's form, and that's what it's all about. All tennis matches are won in the mind eventually. Because you would have thought that the win in Moscow over him so recently would have been enough to convince him that he could do it again, but this is a rather bigger stage. One of his quicker ones. Not his quickest, one, or rather two, kph slower. There you are again, you see. He should draw great heart from this. He knows that, or should know, that Safin is just not concentrating. Trying to. But that's the slight margin he has, doesn't he? The greater power on serve. Gives him a little edge. And that was an 8th ace. Well, I don't have to explain anything. That says it all.
Just can't quite seem to find the same rhythm as he did in the opening set, and because things aren't coming to him as easily as they did, and he's getting frustrated. And it's unusual, really, because he's done well all week to keep control of his emotions.
Not sure whether the ball ever came down from the roof.
Took out his frustration on that forehand there. I think he'll feel a little bit better now. Again, it was an effective serve. He can hit both corners of the box with the same toss, and there was only one thing on his mind as he was chasing up to that short ball. And that was to hit it as hard as possible. Fortunately, it went in.
Here's that slight margin of power and accuracy on the serve. He's keeping him afloat when he's in this slightly substandard mood at the moment. 4-all. Oh, this is lovely serving from Stepanek, it really is. Yes, lovely tennis. 4 perfect points, a little clenched fist to show his determination. And Stepanek is ahead once more, 5-4. And he's taken just 1 point from the last 3 Stepanek service games. As Safin and this fellow, I now fancies his chance for a break. He's done it once. This would be the perfect moment, wouldn't it, to give him the set. 4-5. Only he had made fewer unforced errors, 25 to 11 from Safin.
Let finishes.
Well, that's a better service game after the last, remember? Oh, he was really struggling. But perhaps now he's got his mind back in gear. Certainly Peter Wingren will be hoping so. He'll make a big effort on the Stepanek serve right here. 5-all. That's the one he was practicing.
And the lob just wasn't aggressive enough. I think Safin had time here to... Well, perhaps he was a little too deep to be attempting a topspin lob, but the guy at the net's always going to have enough time to backpedal and play that as a smash as opposed to a high backhand volley when it's hit with slice.
Right out of Safin's own bit, curling away out of reach.
That's a perfect delivery up the tee to the ad side. Didn't hit it as hard as he could. It was only 184 kilometres now, but he came around the outside edge of the ball in order to impart that slice, get the ball to move away from Safin. That's what made it effective.
Nice work. Well left. Just 2 points in 4 service games now. Stepanek lost. So he's playing with much more confidence on his serve. He's got to get the same confidence on Safin's. He's 6-5. Well, here we go. 5-6. Feel that is like that when he hits the ball so flat on that side. Whereas you'll find most of the players today hit with much more topspin.
16 unforced errors now off that forehand.
he mustn't stop doing. That was exactly the right play. Just execution faulty. Not by much. Well, almost inevitably now, we'll have a tie break to decide the set. That might have been a telephone ringing. Keep hearing it. Keep hearing the umpire requesting the public to turn off the mobiles. Certainly upset his concentration a bit there. But only a second double fault, and not that serious, one feels, at 40 love. Perhaps a tiny bit lucky, but nevertheless, he was trying the right shot.
Certainly didn't time the ball as well as he would have liked. Safin thought it was definitely falling wide of the single sideline, but a little misjudgment. And now he's got a little bit of extra work to do to take us into a tie break.
Still a little tentative on this forehand. So tiebreak it will be to decide the set. Let's have a look and see how they've done this year. This is the whole season, the whole of 2004. Stepanek 13-16, a negative record. And so is Safin, 22 wins, 24 losses. Held that beautifully.
It was a good first volley, and I think Stepanek will be confident coming into the tie-break because he's played 3 in the tournament so far and won all of those. Safin is only 2-1. Lost the opening set against Ljubicic, but then came through against Hewitt and Kanyas. Stepanek had won against Lodra, also against Yuzhny and Murney.
And a skipper delight for taking the first mini break in the tie-break with an excellent pass. And he should remind himself about their last meeting. That was in Moscow in the middle of October. The first hit there, 10 points to 8. It was Safin who won it, so he's got, or rather it was Stepanek who won it in playing Safin, so he's got to repeat that.
2-1.
Such a vital stage of the match now. If Safin were to go 2 sets up, it would be very, very difficult, if not impossible almost, for Stepanek to win the match. But at a set all, anything could happen And it was the second set tiebreak yesterday that changed the match against Murney for the qualifier. A lovely return of serve here, and just giving Stepanek nothing to play with. There was no pace on the ball, there was no angle. He tried to take it on the volley instead of taking it on the half volley, which is the right thing to do, but just wasn't able to get there quickly enough.
Got to get a bit closer behind those. Well, lucky to get away with that. Again, not reaching the service line. Had to pick up an awfully difficult half volley.
But did so well, and that's the key. He made Safin play one more ball. We know the Russian doesn't have the softest hands in the world, and so it proved. Perhaps he could have used two hands there and hit a drive volley instead of a normal one, but delight for Stepanek. Still in the lead, only just.
And look at this. We saw the same yesterday against Murney when Stepanek got absolutely fired up.
And Safin is disgruntled, to say the least, because he didn't do enough with that approach shot. Stepanek doing the right thing by just rolling his wrist up the back of the ball to get the necessary topspin for it to dip just over the net. That made life difficult for Safin, and isn't Stepanek now absolutely delighted? He knows that the momentum is firmly in his favour, and he also knows that Safin is getting really frustrated. He's tussling with his inner demons.
Well, he was lucky. It was an easy forehand return missed there by Stepanek. He was still a little bit tight.
Yeah, I think Lundgren there just wanting Safin to start moving his feet a little bit more. Will be a little uptight, because if this were to go to one set apiece with Safin in his current state of mind, anyone's match.
4-3. Great shot there from Safin.
Well, the combination was superb because it was an effective lob in the first place. Got enough topspin on there to make the ball dip viciously, and that's what made the high backhand volley difficult for Stepanek. But from that position, wide of the single sideline, the angle that he was able to create and the pace on the ball was quite superb, and it was enough to draw the error.
So the momentum has swung back to Safin with that winner. Good serve. In the circumstances, a very good serve.
He needed a free point there. That's exactly what he was able to get to put the pressure squarely on Safin's shoulders now.
A nice thing, nice position to be in here. Safin, the rumbling volcano, as I describe him. Mount Safin, Mount Marat might erupt if he were to lose this set. No, I'm afraid Stepanek is trying to extract a win by hoping for errors instead of imposing one by being positive. That doesn't win matches.
And it was a very tentative rally, actually, from both players, but Safin doing the right thing, playing to Stepanek's forehand. There's no doubt about the fact that that's the area that tends to break down in the back of the court.
Well, he was 2-4 down, remember? No. Allowing Stepanek the chance to show us that he is still lacking in that belief. We asked the question right at the start. Set point for Safin. An appeal there. Long says Rashgard. The crowd think that it was in. What does TMI think? That it was a fault. A good call. So a second serve. It's set point, remember? And there it goes. Safin a little bit lucky to get away with it. Lundgren delighted, but dismay for the Stepanek camp. It's Safin 2 sets to love after an hour and 33 minutes.
Well, I think Safin will be delighted. Stepanek distraught, really, at his inability to make the most of his opportunities there, because he played well. It was a good set. His first serve percentage a lot higher than it was in the opening set, and almost as many winners as unforced errors, and many of those coming in the latter stages. And of course, he was able to break Safin's serve for the first time in the match, but he wasn't able to make the most of it. And Safin really just about doing enough. Even though the stats show that he hit more winners than unforced errors, he was getting frustrated with Stepanek's play. And I think he was very fortunate, really, to come through that tiebreak. But now he finds himself 2 sets up, and the chances of him winning the match are greatly improved.
And here are some of the Safin winners from the set. The prelude to reaching set point, and it had been a very close tie-break, remember, and rather typically it was an error from his opponent that gave him the set finally. And to me, the picture is fairly straightforward. Alex Safin, those youngsters backing the giant Russian, fairly straightforward in that to win a match of this sort, you've got to believe in yourself. And clearly, at the moment, Stepanek is not believing.
There's no doubt about that. And I also think that when you're under extreme pressure, the technical deficiencies will come to the fore. And Stepanek certainly has been found wanting on that forehand today throughout the match. We've seen it sometimes in the weak breakdown, but he's been able to really mask it by doing well enough in the other areas of his game to get through those matches, but not today under this kind of pressure. And that's one of the main reasons why Safin was able to win that second set.
Here is the third. I thought from the first, when Stepanek won the toss and said he would receive, that was a negative sign about belief. And there's been a negative quality about his opponent's game, but this man's game, most of the match, I'm afraid. At times he's played some brilliant shots individually, but hasn't strung enough together.
Well, Safin's got to be careful, because just like in the second set where he lost his concentration, dug a hole for himself and it was very difficult to get out of. Did so just in the nick of time, but just want to make hard work of this third set and again throw another lifeline to Stepanek.
Yes, how well might he slap himself on the head. That was a gift which he didn't take. Come on, says his coach.
Well, it was an excellent combination. He just hasn't been able to do it often enough in the match for it to be as effective as he would like. It was lovely length from the return, and off the forehand it was very well executed. And the volley was relatively simple thereafter.
Well, he's broken him once. Yes, too good.
That's an area of Safin's game we haven't seen him use too much today, but we have throughout the week. And he's been effective at the back of the court. He's had an opportunity then to sneak into the net when he's seen the opposition were under extreme pressure, and therefore he's been presented with a relatively simple volley. But that is a lot tougher than he made that look, to be able to go into the space while moving in the opposite direction.
I am a bit like you, surprised that he hasn't been bowling a little bit more today, particularly against a man who himself likes to be at the net and dictate from there. So it would have taken the net position away from Stepanek if he had come in more. And always that slight edge that we've talked about on serve. Which is 10th ace for the first game of set number 3. And I think, you know, seeing the way he has been playing for this whole year and adding that dimension to his game, it's made him a much better player when he's been volleying more.
Well, that's what you've always got to try and do as a player, of course. You've got to try and play as well as you can today in the match that you've got to try and win, but also have one eye on 6 months down the road. How am I going to become a better player? How am I going to become a more complete player? How am I going to have more tactical options at my disposal? And I think that's something that Peter Lundgren has worked hard on with Safin, and that's one of the areas that they've certainly highlighted. And he is a more complete player now, and I think he's having better results because of it.
Also getting rather slowly to the net today. Made life more difficult than it needs to be. Well done in the end, but again not being positive with that first volley.
Well, he should have won the point at the first time of asking. The forehand inside out was good enough. The sneak was an excellent tactic, but he didn't get enough angle on that first volley. Gave Safin an opportunity to chase it down. And he was a little fortunate that he'd anticipated well enough and had the necessary wingspan to be able to win the point at the second attempt.
Well, to query those choice of shots, frankly. 30 love up, and you try a drop shot when you're standing on the baseline. That's rash. Again, that was a makeable shot. A little shake of the head, he knows it. Not an outright winning serve, but yes, just rehearsing what he should have done. I think that rather sums up the whole match today for Stepanek, that tentative volley.
Right. Certainly it's been his intention to try and come into the net as much as possible, but you could see there with the movement he wasn't fully committed, as he has been earlier in the week, to that particular tactic, and the execution of the shots has suffered as a result. Well, he's just giving away too many cheap points. It's as simple as that. 36 in total. We've only played a couple of sets. Many of those have been on the forehand. That's the shot which has really let him down. And of course, he's missed a few too many volleys as well. That's what he would be looking to try and hurt Safin with. And it's really been ineffective today.
The big man running all over the court. That's a lovely touch from Stepanek. He showed lovely touch now and again.
But just not enough. And I think here Safin has really played into Stepanek's hands on a number of occasions by going cross-court off the little drop shot or the drop volley. Stepanek has anticipated it and been able to volley into the space.
Awkward looking forehand.
20th unforced error from that particular ground stroke. Thomas Cooper will know that it is not possible to beat the best players in the world when you're giving that many free points away with one particular shot.
despite the skip in his step, there must be a little bit of lead in his heart, I think, because honestly, he knows that he hasn't taken his chances, he hasn't believed enough. And here's a break point. Very unhappy. Safin there mishitting the return. And on break point, a relatively easy shot. He's kicking himself mentally. He decided too late that he might after all be able to reach it, and it was a vain chase in the end.
That's a good save in the end, because once more he didn't quite do enough with that first volley, but his anticipation was good, his coverage at the net and footwork was just quick enough to be able to put racket on ball and just able to do enough to draw the error.
Longest game of the match. 4 deuces there have been. Well, he's like a bull charging forward there. He's trying to make the bull mad, is Stepanek.
Safin will continue to go cross-court until he wins one of these points, I'm sure of it. Very stubborn. And as yet, the tactic is not working. Nice feel there from Stepanek in order to deaden the ball and get it to drop just over the net. Comes here.
He's got to believe very quickly if he's going to make any impression now. 2 sets down. Well, a lovely, easy service game for him. The 11th ace closing it out to Love. And a 2-1 lead for Safin in the 3rd set.
Much to do for Stepanek now. He's got to try and stay in this set for as long as possible and hope that he's going to get an opportunity to somehow get back in the match. 1-2. lovely first volley. It was a good return. And that's an area of Stepanek's game that has improved as the match has gone on.
Plenty of time to get that angle. Well done. So his only hope now, I think, is for two things to happen. One, for his own belief to start strengthening, and two, for Safin to go off the boil again or go walk about mentally. Otherwise, he's going to lose.
And I think he did that in the second set, Safin. That was the opportunity for Stepanek, and it's come and gone.
Number 12. He's striding about the court now, looking every inch a champion, isn't he? Ace 13. Loves to balance the ball on the frame, the edge of the frame. Not easy to do there. Yes, that's very sporting of Stepanek, saying that no, that was on the line, and it was. So an ace, 4 aces in that game, 15 in total, and Safin smoothly to 3-2. Well, a big uphill struggle ahead if he's going to turn this round. They have been turned round from worse positions than this, best of 5-set matches. But I would be surprised and delighted for Stepanek if he could do it, but I think it's highly unlikely now. 2-3. Well, that was excellent. In closer and a better punched volley.
Well, the quality of the return was just too good. Not quite as accurate on the serve as Stepanek would have wanted. And we've seen him really struggle to get close into the net today behind that serve. And maybe that's a sign of confidence or lack thereof, and the nerves affecting the movement around the court. But Safin's certainly taken advantage of that.
Yeah, shelling peas now.
And the combination is almost always the same. It's the return up the middle of the court, lower than the height of the net, forcing Stepanek to volley defensively. And then we know Safin loves to go up the line, and he can do it off both the backhand or on that occasion the forehand.
Just as well, we heard the call for Stepanek, I think. Well, another of those lovely line-clinging deliveries, his 9th ace. Every now and again, just 2 hours on the clock. Well, I think he thought this was the moment he was going to break serve, and he had him at 15-30. Couldn't do anything about the ace, but he could have done something about that one.
I think he just wants to try and get the final over and done with. He knows that he's the better of the two players, and he's the better of the match so far, but only just, and he hasn't played as well as he has done previously this week.
I think that third double fault again indicating the lack of belief and all-round realisation. I think that probably this is one step too far for him, Stepanek. His 10th. Well, full mark Stepanek there. 15-30 down. Found some good serving. Despite the double fault, bringing it level to 3-all. Well, the sands of time running through the hourglass. He's got to make his effort here. The chances of breaking are getting fewer and fewer, or else we'll be into another tie break.
It hasn't been a high-quality match that we were all anticipating, really. There's been too many unforced errors for that, particularly from Stepanek, now up to 40, amazingly.
And I think the realization is dawning now on him that this is going to be a hopeless cause if he can't do something about that forehand. The thing to have tried, I think, would have been to hit with a hell of a lot more topspin. Try and keep the ball in. But that's not his natural way. Fired into the crowd. Tightening his grip, one thinks, on a third title here in his fourth final. 2 sets to love and now 4-3. Well, every now and again this crowd has been given something to get excited about, but by and large the likely result has seemed inevitable. Safin. Well, how often have we said it, if you're going to certain volley, you've got to get in closer than that. Caught again at his feet. And perhaps it would have been wiser to stay back and go in on the next shot, rather more than he has. It's interesting, actually, when he played Moni, because Moni was absolutely set on advancing to the net every time. First serve, second serve, no variety, no doubts in the opponent's mind.
And it's on 15-30.
Well, this match is just slipping out of his grasp here if he's not careful. Fourth double fault in 15-30. So close.
It wasn't really enough on that serve, and Safin had time. He'd be frustrated because he knew the shot was on. It would have been effective. Just inched over the net.
Much closer to the net, you see, for that first volley. Made all of it, even though the return was good and low. You've got to sprint in right after the delivery if you're going to serve and volley. When he thought of taking up football, didn't he, as a youngster?
Never really got set up for that shot, trying to move through the ball and a rush obviously to try and get into a good position at the net. But there's been no real commitment to hitting through the ball.
Well, he must be feeling pretty pleased, Peter Lundgren, and there in the background are two joint tournament directors. Alan Rio was alongside Cedric Pilling. No. So here is a break point that could prove His last chance. He's got to save this one, or else I think he hasn't looked like breaking Safin in this set since the close opening game of the set. Well, how unlucky. How unlucky. It was such a good serve. But he, last graph, has in his ear a little bleep from the device attached to the net that records vibration, but nobody else heard it, you see. They're always suggesting that it should be made public.
The machine calls, I have to call it. When the machine beeps, all the time. I have to.
Well, when the machine bleeps, he has to. Well, why don't we hear the bleep? Then at least Stepanek wouldn't have been surprised. And there it goes. Well, he knows he's a bit lucky there in that call of let for a ball that seemed to be high over the net. And guessing right with that still rather pushed volley. No real commitment today from Stepanek in the forecourt. Safin now with 4 points between him and the third title in Paris.
And I think that's really what would have hurt Stepanek's confidence the most today, his inability to volley well. That's what he usually uses in order to try and win the vast majority of points. But today he's been too tentative, he's made too many errors, and as a consequence, gifted Safin too many free points.
Well, you never know.
That was a good return. They've been few and far between off that forehand, particularly on the deuce court, but the length was good enough to draw the error.
Steadying the ship here. 15:30 to 30 all. Just 2 to go. teasing height. Safin thought he could make his smash, so didn't turn and chase it, which he could have done.
I think he was just taken by surprise. It was a lovely change-up by Stepanek. Safin was trying to close out the net because he thought Stepanek would attempt to pass.
Now, this surely is the last chance. Snuffed out. 16th ace. And how depressing for Stepanek.
Silver.
At least you can smile about it.
Well, I was surprised really with the amount of slice that Safin attempted to put on the smash. Usually you might put a little bit on there and going cross court.
He's thrown this man a lifeline. But again, the big serve comes to the rescue. To the forehand again as he comes to the net. Absolutely the right tactic. And a smile on the face of Lundgren now. After 2 hours and 18 minutes. A championship point here for a third title in Paris.
Merci.
He's done it. Well, an embrace at the net. And in the end, it was just one step too far for Stepanek, who has had a marvellous week. But this man has threatened throughout the week to do what he's done here twice before. In all departments, he was just a little bit better than everybody else. L.A. Marat, well, he has allayed all right today. A third title, 6-3, 7-6, 6-3, 2 hours, 18 minutes of near perfection. And I think now his sights firmly set on the title in Houston.
It certainly wasn't the best match that Safin will ever play. We saw him play some exceptional tennis throughout the week, particularly against Leighton Hewitt, but he did enough to get the job done today, and that's all that matters. Always a sign of a true competitor is the ability to be able to play well enough to win the match, whatever the circumstances, and that's something that Safin has certainly improved in terms of his own game in the last few months. So Stepanek really, I think, will be disappointed because he wasn't able to play well enough to really get into the match, and his opportunities came in that second set, and as soon as he wasn't able to take advantage of those, the chances of him winning just disappeared. Didn't serve well enough throughout the encounter. The first serve percentage is nowhere near high enough. Too many unforced errors, 48 in total, the vast majority of those coming off the forehand side, and Safin just targeted that particular shot throughout the encounter, and really there was only ever going to be one winner. Safin More winners than unforced errors, always a good sign. He was able to play the big points better, particularly the break point opportunities that came his way, and he served well enough to get the job done. That was often a shot that got himself out of a sticky situation. So Safin is a deserved victor in straight sets.
All day, this big serve had really made it so difficult for Stepanek, who did manage a break of serve, but never looked like doing it when it really mattered towards the end. And altogether, a better Safin now than the man who started this year, and he can thank Peter Lundgren for that. He's got his mind in gear. And even when he does have those little explosions, he gets himself back again now.
Well, that's the key, and when he doesn't play particularly well, he still has a good chance of winning the match. And I think in the 2 or 3 months from springtime this year till the US Open, whenever he played poorly, he lost. It was as simple as that. And his record since the US Open is a tour best 22-3, so he's in majestic form at the moment.
So we're just seeing the arrival on court of the president of the French Tennis Federation, Christian Beam, and alongside him is Emily Stepanek, the Olympic gold medalist in asymmetric bars. As is customary, the runner-up first, thanking the crowd for their support. He's been a popular player here this week, and he's played beautifully. And he'll have, as consolation, a cheque for €222,000. And it'll be a proud moment to hold up a finalist's trophy, his first. At any level, not just Masters, so it's a pretty good start.
Du BNP Paribas Masters 2004, et il remporte son 3e tournoi ici, également Boris Becker, le Russe Marat Safin.
The only man, says Mark Murray, to have won 3 times before was Boris Becker, and now Safin has done just that. A little kiss from Emily, and congratulations there from Christian Beam. First thing he got, there it is, the trophy unique to this tournament. On each of the branches of the tree is the name of one of the champions. His is there 3 times.
Offert à tous les vainqueurs de Tennis Master Series dans le monde.
And now the Waterford Crystal Trophy, so prized by all champions at Master Series events. And he now adds a 5th.
Un petit mot avec les joueurs, on commence avec Radek Stepanek.
Beside the two
first
here.
of all, I have to congratulate Marat for a great play during all the week, and he gave me a revanche for Moscow, and I hope he has enough big garden for these trees from Paris, so congratulations to him.
Je voudrais féliciter Marat pour sa très bonne semaine et j'espère qu'il va encore remporter d'autres tournois comme celui-ci.
Inevitably.
I have to thank all the people who were working for this tournament during all the week. I have so far my best week in my career, and I hope I'm gonna have more of these weeks, and only thing I can say is merci, merci.
Merci, merci. Nicely done.
Toutes les personnes qui sont impliquées dans ce tournoi. J'ai eu ma meilleure semaine ici. Je n'ai qu'une chose à dire. Merci, merci.
Some of the 100,000 crowd here today who have been here this week.
I have to give it back. I think congratulations. It's a great end of the season. Hope you have more success in next year, finals, and of course winning these titles. Wish you all the best and good luck for the future. It was a nice experience. Great to be in the final with you.
Je voudrais féliciter Radek. Bravo pour cette fin de saison. J'espère qu'il va encore avoir d'autres succès, de grands succès dans le futur. Bravo encore.
Then I think next is thanks a lot for the sponsors. I mean, they've been here, BNP Paribas. They've been for many years here. Wait. No, I want to translate. The most important will be later.
C'est très très important. Je voudrais remercier les sponsors, BNP Paribas, mais c'est très très important de le dire.
Thanks for the sponsor, thanks for the tournament director, Cedric. He did a great job. It's the second year here. So all the success, all the best in the future.
Je voudrais remercier les organisateurs, la fédération et Cédric pour sa deuxième année. Bravo, et puis bonne chance dans le futur.
Cedric Pierlin, of course, former French #1, joint tournament director.
Of course, to the ball kids, they were very fast this week. They were amazing.
Et les ramasseurs qui étaient très rapides cette semaine, hein. Ils étaient superbes.
Like I usually say that I don't see any linesmen, but thanks a lot to them, because without them we would not win any points. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for helping me in this also.
Merci aux juges de ligne aussi, parce que sans eux, j'aurais pas marqué beaucoup de points. Merci beaucoup pour tout ce que vous avez fait.
And of course, the most important things. Thanks a lot for coming here. Thanks for the great support. Thanks for keeping tennis alive. I'm really glad to come here again and again in the summer, in the winter, and really enjoy my tennis and really enjoy to have you here and with a full crowd here. It's one of the best experiences in my life.
Et surtout plus important, vous remercie d'être venu. Merci de m'avoir soutenu. Merci parce que grâce à vous, je peux jouer mon meilleur tennis et j'ai le plaisir à jouer ce tennis devant vous. Encore une fois, je reviendrai l'été et l'hiver, encore une fois, s'il le faut.
Well, he said all the right things. You can see why he's so popular.
It was really honest. I'm really enjoying playing in France, so I have to admit it's true.
Et c'est très important et je peux vous assurer, j'adore jouer en France, c'est vrai.
And of course, there is a part of success that I'm winning lately. Part of the success that I'm winning lately is also for my coach, my team there, managers. Been working for a long time. Finally, success is coming. I didn't have a really very good middle of the season, but now I'm paying the prices, and just it's great to win again.
Je voudrais remercier, c'est aussi important, tout mon clan, avec mon coach et puis mon manager, tous ceux qui me suivent régulièrement. Merci vraiment pour ce qu'ils font autour de moi. Voilà, les joueurs recevront également chacun une montre Candino. Et je vais également demander à l'arbitre, M. Lars, de venir recevoir son trophée. L'arbitre de la finale, Lars, qui va recevoir
thanking the umpire, Lars Graf, who will receive an award just out of your picture. He's getting a little trophy, a memento of the event.
Très très fort tous les deux, les deux finalistes de ces éditions 2004 du BNP Paribas Masters.
I'm just asking the crowd to recognise the two finalists once more. Of course, there's a small matter of €445,500 for this man, as well as those two trophies. This one held aloft now. The Arbre Fonti, the fantasy tree. And he's probably going to hold the shield as well. There is the lovely water crystal shield. And besides the other two from here on his mantelpiece, there's one from the Canadian Open of 2000, Master Series win there, and of course this year's Madrid tournament, where I thought he played his best tennis, Jason.
Well, I think he did, and I think he played well this week too on occasion, and he did enough to get the job done. There was a few jaded players in the